Unstoppable force meets immovable object. This game was played over 150 years ago, and yet to this day it is remembered as the Immortal Draw. White already goes wrong, with knight to a4 trying to attack this bishop. This is easily countered by the brilliant bishop takes f2, the king takes the bishop, and now black follows up with queen to h4 check, attacking the king and the pawn. Now g3 would allow queen takes e4, and king e2 would allow a direct fork where the knight is simply going to fall on the next move. So white plays king to e3 defending the pawn, queen to f4 check, king d3, and now d5 adding more pressure to this pawn. And taking would forget about the knight, but saving the knight would allow black to create massive pressure and eventually win the knight back and the game. So white keeps running with the king, black takes the pawn and now attacks the knight. And if you try to save the knight like this, be careful, this is going to be a checkmate. So instead white keeps running with the king, knight to a6, now threatening a checkmate in one move. Black plays the incredible and brilliant queen takes a4, sacrificing a full queen for just a knight. Of course white takes the queen, but now knight to c5 prevents the escape of the king, so the king has to go to b4, attack the knight like this, but black doesn't care for the knight and sacrifices that piece too with a5 check. So white takes, what's the big deal? Where is this checkmate? Well, I'll show you where it is. Knight to e7 prepares a mating net. Now after something like knight to f3 there is going to be b6, and after king to b5 only move, bishop to d7 is an incredible checkmate. But the player with the white pieces is just as brilliant as the one with black and finds the only move that saves the position. Bishop to b5 check, trying to induce c6, where white would then be out of the woods. There is no checkmate anymore with b6, the king takes and is going to run to safety. So black moves the king and tries to keep the threats alive. Bishop to c6, sacrificing this bishop two different ways with the only purpose of ending black's checkmate threats. Black doesn't slow down and plays b6 check and then takes the bishop, now creating a very interesting mating net. Trying to develop fails to bishop to d7, preparing a discover check with the knight and a checkmate. So white has to take this knight, and now black decides that he had enough and wants to draw this game with the only drawing move, bishop to b7. White cannot accept this sacrifice because after king to d7 we are creating a mating net. You can give a check with the queen, but after a move there is going to be no more checks. This would be a checkmate. So white has to run away with the king, and after bishop to a6, king a4, again black can set up the mating threat and you're going to lose your king like this. So white has nothing better but to repeat moves, and incredibly this game ends in an immortal draw.